The conference room stretched wider than 3 football fields. Ambassador Tay stood at the entrance and looked at the massive chamber. 12 thrones surrounded a circular platform, each one built for a different alien species. Some thrones floated in the air. Others were filled with strange liquids. One looked like it was made of pure light. Tay walked forward with 7 other humans behind him. Their shoes made soft sounds on the crystal floor. Above them, the twin suns of Proxima Helios burned through the transparent dome. This station had orbited these stars for 10,000 years. The Galactic Council was older than human civilization itself. "Ambassador Tay of Earth," a voice boomed through the chamber. It came from everywhere at once. "You stand before the Galactic Council. Show respect." Tay stopped at the center platform. He did not bow. Behind him, Yuna carried a data tablet. Sung and Huan stood ready with documents. The other humans remained calm and professional. A massive creature rose from the largest throne. It looked like a walking mountain of blue crystal. Light moved inside its body like lightning in a storm. This was Veltis, Speaker of the Council. His species, the Zerath, had ruled galactic politics for 5,000 years. 15 years, Veltis said. His voice sounded like breaking glass. For 15 years, humans have asked to join this council. For 15 years, we have tested you, watched you, judged you. Tay said nothing. He had heard this speech before. The council loved to remind younger species how small and new they were. Today, Veltis continued, we offer you what you have begged for. Membership in the Galactic Council. He paused. The other 11 council members shifted in their thrones. Of course there are conditions. Yuna handed Tay the tablet. He looked at the treaty document that had just appeared on the screen. His face showed no emotion as he read, but inside, anger grew hot in his chest. You will reduce your military fleet by 70%, Veltis said. You will accept 50 million alien citizens to settle on Earth each year, with no restrictions. You will pay tribute taxes of 40% of your gross domestic product for 100 standard years. He made a sound that might have been laughter. These are generous terms for such a young species. To Tay's left, a throne held a creature that looked like a giant insect. Its compound eyes watched the humans with what seemed like amusement. This was a Krith, a species known for their ruthless business practices. To his right, a cloud of purple gas swirled inside a containment field. The Nomari communicated through light pulses that translators turned into speech. Surely humans understand the honor of this moment, the Nomari delegate said. Its voice came out soft and whispery. So few species achieve council membership. We only ask for small gestures of cooperation. Small gestures. Tay almost laughed. They wanted to strip Earth of its defenses, flood it with aliens who would answer to the Council, and drain its wealth for a century. This was not membership. This was conquest with paperwork. Huan leaned close and whispered, Sir, this is worse than we thought. Tay nodded slightly. He had expected bad terms. The Council had made that clear in private negotiations over the past year. But this was not just bad. This was designed to break humanity's spirit, to make humans into servants. He looked up at Veltis. Is this your final offer? The crystal being's light pulsed brighter. This is not an offer, human. This is the price of civilization. You accept or you remain outside, alone, without access to council trade routes. Without protection from the dangers of deep space, without the medical technology that could save billions of human lives. The threat was clear. Accept slavery or face isolation. The Council had used this strategy for millennia. Most species accepted. They had no choice. But Tay thought about something his grandfather had told him long ago. Never negotiate with someone who does not respect you. Walk away. Build something better. He looked at the treaty one more time. 70% of the fleet. That would leave Earth defenseless. The immigration quotas would destroy human culture in a generation. The taxes would cripple the economy, all while the council members grew rich and fat from human labor. Tay closed the tablet. He handed it back to Yuna. Then he did something no ambassador had ever done in the council's long history. He turned around and started walking toward the exit. The chamber fell silent. Veltus's crystalline body stopped glowing for a moment. The Krith delegates' wings buzzed in confusion. The Nomari's cloud swirled faster. "Where are you going?" Veltus demanded. "We have not dismissed you." Tay kept walking. His team followed. Their footsteps echoed in the huge room. "You cannot leave!" The council speaker's voice cracked like thunder. "No species refuses council membership. No species walks away from this chamber without permission." Tay stopped at the doorway. He turned to face the council one last time. His voice was calm and clear. "Humanity thanks the Galactic Council for its time," he said. "We have considered your offer carefully, and we respectfully decline membership in the Galactic Council." "You decline?" Veltus moved down from his throne. The crystal giant towered over the humans. "You are making a mistake that will destroy your species." "Perhaps," Tay said, "but it will be our mistake to make, not yours." "You will have nothing!" the Krith delegate shrieked. "No trade, no protection, no access to the galaxy's resources." Tay smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. "We shall see." He walked out. His team followed. The doors closed behind them with a soft hiss. Behind them, chaos erupted in the council chamber. Delegates shouted at each other. Some demanded the humans be brought back by force. Others argued about what this meant for council authority. No one could remember a time when any species had simply walked away. Veltus stood frozen, his light flickering uncertainly. In 10,000 years of council history, this had never happened. The human delegation walked through the station's corridors. Other aliens stopped and stared. News of what happened was already spreading. Tay ignored them all. He reached the docking bay where 3 human ships waited. "Get everyone aboard," he told Sung. "We leave immediately." "Sir," Yuna said quietly, "they might try to stop us." "They might," Tay agreed, "but they won't. We haven't broken any laws. We simply said no." The ships undocked from the station. Tay watched through the viewport as the massive council station grew smaller. 15 years of begging, negotiating, and hoping for acceptance, all ending in this single moment of refusal. "Set course for Earth," he ordered. "Full speed." The ships turned away from the twin suns. Their engines glowed bright blue. In seconds, they jumped to faster-than-light travel and disappeared. Behind them, the Galactic Council continued to argue. They did not yet understand what had just happened. They thought the humans would come crawling back within weeks, desperate and afraid. They were wrong. Humanity had just changed the galaxy forever. And the Council would not realize it until it was far too late. 3 weeks had passed since the humans walked out of the council chamber. At first, the council members laughed. They made jokes about the foolish young species that threw away its future. They predicted Earth would beg to return within a month. But the humans did not return. And slowly, very slowly, problems began to appear. Hai sat in her small office on the Krith homeworld. She worked as an economic analyst for the Trade Consortium, one of the galaxy's largest business groups. Her job was to track trade flows and predict market changes. She was good at her job. Very good. Her screen showed something that made her stomach twist with worry. She ran the numbers again. Then again. The result stayed the same. She grabbed her communicator and called her supervisor. "Sir, we have a serious problem." "What kind of problem?" The Krith's voice clicked with irritation. "The medical shipments from human space have stopped," Hai said. completely stopped. So, we have stockpiles. Hai pulled up more data. Our stockpiles will last 60 days, maybe 70 if we ration. But sir, 40% of all medical supplies in council space come from human manufacturers. Their nano-treatments are the only cure for red-scale cancer. Without them, find another supplier, her supervisor interrupted. There is no other supplier, Hai said quietly. Humans are the only ones who can make the nano-treatments work. We tried to copy their technology for years. We failed. The communicator went silent. Then, how many Krith have red-scale cancer right now? Hai closed her eyes. 200 million. And that's just our species. Across all council space, the number is over 3 billion. The supervisor disconnected without another word. Hai knew what would happen next. Panic. The kind of panic that toppled governments. She looked at her screen and pulled up more data. Medical supplies were just the beginning. Humans manufactured 60% of all computing processors in the galaxy. They ran the shipping lanes through the void sectors, the dangerous regions of space that connected council worlds. They produced specialized equipment that other species needed to survive. The galaxy had become dependent on human industry, and no one had noticed until now. Across the galaxy, Commander Dong sat in the command center of Border Station 7. The station floated at the edge of human-controlled space. For years, it had been a busy place. Alien ships passed through constantly, using the human patrol routes to travel safely. Not anymore. Another Nomari convoy is requesting passage, his communications officer reported. Denied, Dong said. All non-essential traffic through human space is suspended until further notice. Sir, they say it's urgent. Medical supplies for their colony on Theta Prime. Dong felt a small pang of guilt, but his orders were clear. Check if they need emergency assistance. If not, they must find another route. The officer worked at his console. Sir, the other route would add 14 days to their travel time. Then they should have left earlier, Dong said. Denied. He watched the Nomari ships turn away on his screen. They would have to go the long way around. Through dangerous space that pirates loved to hunt. That was not his problem anymore. More ships appeared on the scanner. A Krith cargo hauler. 3 Zirath diplomatic vessels. A mining fleet from some species Dong did not recognize. All of them wanted to pass through human space. All of them used to be allowed through without question. Deny all requests, Dong ordered, unless they have specific trade agreements with Earth or our allies. The communications channels lit up with angry messages, threats, bribes, desperate pleas. Dong ignored them all. Let the Council see what happened when they treated humans like servants. Within a week, travel times across the galaxy had doubled, then tripled. The human patrol routes had connected Council worlds like a highway system. Without them, ships had to take old, slow, dangerous paths through space. Pirates noticed. Ships started disappearing, small at first. A cargo hauler here, a passenger transport there, then larger vessels. The humans had kept the peace in the deep dark. Now the deep dark was hungry again. On the council station, emergency meetings happened every day. Veltus sat on his throne and listened to reports that grew worse each time. The Krith medical system is approaching collapse, one advisor said. They need human nano-treatments. Without them, millions will die. The Nomari data networks are failing, another reported. Human processors handle 80% of their computational needs. They cannot replace them quickly enough. 16 ships lost to piracy in the last week, a military officer added. All in sectors that human fleets used to patrol. Veltus's crystalline body flickered with dark light. Send envoys to Earth. Offer them better terms. The first envoy arrived at Earth 3 days later. Tay met him in a simple conference room. No ceremony, no grand chamber, just a table and 2 chairs. The envoy was a Nomari, his purple cloud contained in a portable field generator. Ambassador Tay, the Council wishes to reopen negotiations. There is nothing to negotiate, Tay said pleasantly. We declined membership. That decision is final. But surely we can discuss trade agreements, medical supplies, shipping rights. The Nomari's voice carried a tone of desperation. Tay shook his head. The Council made its position clear. You wanted 70% of our fleet, immigration quotas, tribute taxes. Those were your terms for treating us as equals. We can revise those terms. No, Tay said simply. We are no longer interested in Council affairs. We wish you well, but humanity is pursuing its own path now. The envoy tried for 2 hours. Tay remained polite but firm. Finally, the Nomari left, his cloud swirling with frustrated energy. More envoys came, 1 per day, then 2, then 5. All of them received the same answer. Humanity was done with the Galactic Council. Mina stood in her office on Mars and watched the construction through the window. 3 new factories were being built. 2 more were scheduled to break ground next week. All of them would produce goods for humanity's new trading partners. The Palos delegation just confirmed, her assistant said. They want to buy medical supplies. They will pay in refined metals. Approved, Mina said. What else? 7 more minor species have requested trade talks. The Kelvin, the Tross, Approve them all, Mina interrupted. Schedule meetings. Make it clear that we treat all partners with respect, regardless of their size or power. Her assistant looked worried. The Council will see this as a threat. Mina smiled. The Council has spent centuries ignoring these minor species, exploiting them, treating them like they do not matter. We are simply offering them a better option. It was working better than anyone expected. The minor species, the ones too small to have Council representation, flocked to human offers. They had raw materials that humans needed. Humans had technology and medicine that they desperately wanted. It was simple trade based on mutual benefit. No tribute taxes, no demands for military reduction, no colonization quotas, just fair exchange between equals. Within a month, humanity had signed trade agreements with 47 minor species. More were coming every week. Back on the Council station, Veltis watched his power crumble. The Krith and Nomari were at each other's throats, fighting over dwindling resources. Smaller Council members whispered about leaving. Some even talked about approaching the humans for trade deals. Send another envoy, he ordered. Offer them full membership. No conditions. His advisor hesitated. Sir, our intelligence reports suggest that humans are building their own alliance with the minor species. They may not want Council membership anymore. Veltis's light pulsed angry red. Impossible. They need us. Perhaps, the advisor said carefully, but it appears we need them more. 6 months had passed since humanity walked away. The galaxy was falling apart. Captain Sue stood on the bridge of the human frigate Indomitable and watched the battle on her screens. 2 Council fleets were shooting at each other over an asteroid field. The Krith wanted the minerals. The Zerath claimed the territory was theirs by ancient treaty. Neither side was willing to back down. Should we intervene, Captain? Her weapons officer asked. No, Sue said. This is not our fight. Maintain position at the border. Do not cross into neutral space. She had watched 3 similar battles in the last month. The Council was eating itself. For thousands of years, the Council had maintained order through a combination of law and force. But that order had depended on one thing, everyone believing the system worked. Humans had broken that belief. When they walked away, other species began to wonder, if humans could say no, why could they not? The answer was simple. Most species were too weak to survive without the Council. But now, with humans offering an alternative, that was changing. Captain, we are receiving a distress signal, the communications officer reported. It is from a Palos mining station. They say a Krith raiding party is attacking them. Sue checked her screens. The Palos were one of the minor species that had signed a trade agreement with humanity. The agreement included a mutual defense clause. That meant Earth was obligated to help. "How many Krith ships?" she asked. "6 destroyers. The mining station has no weapons." Sue felt her jaw tighten. The Krith were a council species. Attacking them would have consequences. But the Palos had asked for humanity's protection. If Earth did not respond, their new alliance would be meaningless. "Set course for the Palos station," she ordered. "Battle speed. Charge all weapons." The Indomitable jumped to faster-than-light travel. They arrived at the mining station in minutes. The Krith destroyers were firing on the station's shields. Small explosions dotted the protective barrier. "Open communications," Sue said. "This is Captain Sue of the human frigate Indomitable. You are attacking a facility under Earth's protection. Withdraw immediately, or we will respond with force." The Krith commander's face appeared on the screen. He looked like a giant mantis with too many eyes. "This does not concern humans. The Palos owe the Krith Consortium a debt. We are simply collecting. By destroying their mining station." "By any means necessary," the Krith said. "Leave, human. This is council business." Sue smiled coldly. "We are not part of your council. And you have 10 seconds to withdraw before I turn your ships into scrap metal." The Krith commander laughed. It sounded like buzzing insects. "You have 1 small frigate. We have 6 destroyers. You cannot—" Sue cut the communication. "Weapons! Target their engines! Fire!" The Indomitable moved faster than the Krith expected. Human ships had improved significantly in the 15 years they spent trying to join the Council. While begging for acceptance, Earth's scientists had been working, improving, innovating. The Krith destroyers were old. Their technology had not changed in centuries. Why would it? The Council had no real enemies, no competition. They had grown comfortable and lazy. The human frigate's weapons were neither comfortable nor lazy. 3 Krith ships lost power in the first volley. Their engines went dark, leaving them drifting in space. The other 3 tried to return fire, but the Indomitable was already moving, its shields absorbing their attacks easily. "Target their weapon systems," Sue ordered. "Disable. Don't destroy. I want them to go home and tell everyone what happened." 2 more Krith ships went dark. The last one turned and ran, jumping to faster-than-light travel in a panic. The battle had lasted less than 3 minutes. Sue opened communications with the Palos station. "This is Captain Sue. The threat has been neutralized. Are you all right?" A small alien appeared on the screen. It looked like a blue rabbit with 6 legs. "Thank you, Captain. Thank you. The Krith said the Council would not let us refuse their demands. They said no one would help us." "The Krith were wrong," Sue said. "Humanity keeps its promises. You are under our protection now." The blue rabbit's eyes got very wide. "We will tell everyone. Everyone will know that humans are true friends." News of the battle spread across the galaxy within hours. A single human frigate had defeated 6 Krith destroyers without taking damage. The message was clear. Earth did not just make medicines and computers, they made weapons too. Very good weapons. More importantly, Earth would use those weapons to protect its partners. Applications for trade agreements flooded Earth's diplomatic channels. Minor species that had suffered under Council rule for centuries saw hope. If the Palos could stand up to the Krith, maybe they could too, with human backing. On the Council station, Veltus called an emergency meeting. All 12 Council members gathered. The mood was dark. "The humans are building an alliance," a Nomari representative said. 53 minor species have joined them now. That is more than half of all independent species in the galaxy. "They are stealing what belongs to the Council," the Krith delegate buzzed angrily. "We should send our fleets to Earth. Force them to submit." "With what fleets?" another voice asked. It came from a reptilian creature called a Venk. "Half our ships are fighting each other. The other half are trying to stop pirates." We cannot spare vessels for a war with humans. Besides, a new voice added, did you see what happened at the Palos station? One human frigate defeated 6 of our destroyers. How many humans' ships do you think we would need to defeat? The chamber fell silent. No one wanted to answer that question. Commander Jin sat in a strategy meeting on Earth. Maps of the galaxy covered the walls. Red areas showed council space. Blue areas showed human space. Green areas showed the growing alliance of minor species. The council is fracturing, she told the assembled generals and admirals. We are seeing territorial disputes that would have been unthinkable 6 months ago. The Zerath and Krith nearly went to war last week. The Nomari are hoarding resources. Trust is breaking down. What about military threats to Earth? An admiral asked. Jin shook her head. Minimal. They are too busy fighting each other, and after what Captain Su did at the Palos station, they are afraid. They finally understand that we are not weak. We let them think we were weak, another general said. For 15 years, we played the part of hopeful applicants. We let them believe we needed them more than they needed us. And now they know the truth, Jin agreed. The question is, what do we do next? Back at the council station, things got worse. The Krith and Nomari had stopped speaking to each other entirely. 3 minor council members were threatening to leave. Economic reports showed that trade had dropped by 40%. Medical crises were developing on multiple worlds. Veltis looked at the reports and felt something he had not experienced in his long life. Fear. Not fear of death, but fear of irrelevance. The Galactic Council had ruled for 10,000 years. In 6 months, a species that barely had faster-than-light travel 2 centuries ago had brought it to its knees. How? Not with weapons, not with threats. Simply by offering other species a choice, respect or exploitation, freedom or control, and one by one, species were choosing freedom. Send a message to Ambassador Tay, Veltis ordered. Tell him I wish to meet. Just the 2 of us. No council, no observers. His advisor looked shocked. Sir, that would show weakness. We are already weak, Veltis said quietly. The only question is whether we will be wise enough to admit it before everything falls apart. The message was sent. On Earth, Tay read it and smiled. The council was finally ready to listen. But the question was, did humanity still want to talk to them? The ship carrying Veltis arrived at Earth's orbital station without ceremony. No guards, no diplomatic fleet, just one small transport with the council speaker aboard. Word of his visit had already spread across the galaxy. Some called it historic. Others called it surrender. Ambassador Tay stood at the docking port and watched the Zerath leader emerge. Up close, Veltis was enormous. His crystalline body towered 3 meters tall, light pulsing through him like a heartbeat. This being had ruled galactic politics for 2,000 years. He had seen species rise and fall. He had shaped the fate of worlds. Now he had come to Earth, hat in hand. Speaker Veltis, Tay said politely, welcome to Earth's station. I hope your journey was comfortable. Cut the pleasantries, Veltis said. His voice sounded tired. I did not come here for small talk. Then follow me. Tay led him to a conference room. It was small and plain, nothing like the grand chambers of the council station. 2 chairs, 1 table, a window showing Earth below, blue and green and beautiful. Veltis looked at the simple room and made a sound that might have been a laugh. You humiliate me even in your choice of meeting place. No, Tay said. I treat you like I treat everyone else. With basic respect, in a functional space. Is that humiliation to you? The Zerath leader sat down. His crystalline body made grinding sounds as he settled into the reinforced chair. You know why I am here. I can guess. The council is falling apart, Veltis said bluntly. Species that have been allies for millennia are at each other's throats. Trade has collapsed. Medical crises are developing on 17 worlds. Pirates are raiding with impunity. And it is all because you walked away. Tay poured himself water from a pitcher on the table. He did not offer any to Veltis. The Zerath did not drink. No, it is falling apart because you built it on exploitation and fear. We just stopped holding it together. You were the glue, Veltis admitted. Your industry, your shipping routes, your medical technology. We did not realize how much we depended on you until you were gone. You did not care, Tay corrected. You knew. You just thought we would never have the courage to leave. Veltis's light flickered. Perhaps. But you did leave. And now I am here to bring you back. He pulled out a data tablet and slid it across the table. Tay picked it up and read. His eyebrows rose slightly. Full council membership, Veltis said. No conditions, no tribute, no fleet reductions, no immigration quotas. You would have the same rights and privileges as any founding member. Additionally, we offer humans veto power on major council decisions. You would be equals in every way. Tay set down the tablet. You offer me everything I asked for a year ago. Yes. Everything you said was impossible. Yes. Everything you mocked me for requesting. Veltis's light dimmed. Yes, I was wrong. The council was wrong. We treated you like children begging for a seat at the adult table. We did not see that you had already grown into something we could not control. He paused. I am offering you an apology and a genuine partnership. Is that not what you wanted? Tay stood up and walked to the window. He looked down at Earth. 7 billion humans, thousands of years of history, wars and peace, suffering and triumph, all leading to this moment. A year ago, yes, he said finally. A year ago, I would have jumped at this offer. I would have called it a victory. And now? Now I see it for what it is. Desperation. Tay turned back to face Veltis. You don't want partners. You want us to save your failing system. The system can be reformed, Veltis said. With human input, we can make it better, more fair, more just. No. Tay's voice was firm. You cannot reform something built on a foundation of inequality. You would need to tear it down and start over. That is impossible. The council has existed for 10,000 years. Then, perhaps, Tay said quietly, it has existed long enough. He pressed a button on his tablet. A hologram appeared above the table. It showed a map of the galaxy. Blue dots represented human space. Green dots were the minor species in humanity's alliance. Red dots were council space. The green dots outnumbered the red dots almost 2-to-1. 63 species have joined our alliance now, Tay said. More applications arrive every day. We offer them fair trade, mutual defense, representation in our decision-making. We treat them like equals, not subjects. You are building a rival council, Veltis said. That will lead to war. No, we are building something different. Tay changed the hologram. Now it showed an organizational chart. At the center was a circle labeled Assembly. Dozens of lines connected it to species names. The Galactic Union. Every member species, regardless of size, gets one vote. All decisions are made democratically. No tribute, no forced compliance, just free people working together. Veltis studied the chart. This is idealistic nonsense. The strong will always dominate the weak. Only if the weak allow it, Tay said, and we will make sure they don't have to. Another image appeared. Military readiness reports, fleet compositions, weapons technology. Veltis's light pulsed faster as he read. This is your military capacity? He asked. This is what you have been hiding? We weren't hiding it, Tay said. You just never asked. You assumed we were weak because we asked politely for membership. You mistook courtesy for weakness. The reports showed something remarkable. Human military technology had advanced far beyond council standards. While the old powers stagnated, Earth had innovated. Their ships were faster, their weapons more precise, their defensive systems more sophisticated. Not enough to conquer the galaxy, but more than enough to protect it. You could have demanded council membership, Veltis said. With this military, you could have forced us to accept you as equals. Yes, Tay agreed. But that would make us no different than you. We don't want to dominate. We want to cooperate. So you will refuse my offer? Tay sat back down. I have a counteroffer. One I think you should consider carefully. Veltis waited. Dissolve the Galactic Council, Tay said. Join the Galactic Union as member species. Accept democratic rule. Give up your special privileges and tributary rights. Become equals with everyone else. Impossible! Veltis's light flashed angry red. The council species would never accept such terms. Then they can stay in their dying organization, Tay said calmly. We don't need them. They need us. You would split the galaxy in two. The galaxy is already split. We are simply offering everyone a choice. The old way or a new way. Slavery or freedom. We think most will choose freedom. Veltis stood up. His massive form seemed to fill the small room. You are destroying 10,000 years of civilization. No, Tay said, also standing. We are creating a new civilization. One built on better foundations. You are welcome to join us. All council species are, but only as equals. Not as rulers. Engineer Quan appeared via hologram. He stood in a factory on Mars, surrounded by machinery. Ambassador, should I show him? Tay nodded. Quan adjusted the hologram to show the factory floor. Hundreds of workers moved through assembly lines. Ships were being built. Medical equipment, computers, weapons, everything the galaxy needed. This is one of 16 new facilities, Quan said. We are producing more now than we did when we supplied the council. And all of it goes to union members. Fair trade, fair prices, no exploitation. Veltis watched in silence. He saw the future being built before his eyes, a future where the council was irrelevant. You have already won, he said quietly. Why offer us membership at all? Why not let us collapse completely? Because we are not cruel, Tay said. We don't want the council species to suffer. We want you to thrive, just not at everyone else's expense. Join us. Help us build something better, or stay in your towers and watch the galaxy move forward without you. Veltis turned toward the door. I must return to the council. Present your offer to the full assembly. They will reject it, Tay predicted. Probably, Veltis agreed. The old guard does not easily surrender power. Then they will fail. Yes. Veltis paused at the door. For what it is worth, Ambassador, I wish we had seen your value sooner. I wish we had treated you with the respect you deserved. I appreciate that, Tay said. But wishes change nothing. Actions do. Veltis left. His ship departed Earth's orbital station and jumped back toward council space. Tay watched it go and wondered if they would ever see each other again. Do you think he will convince them? Yuna asked. No, Tay said. But some will listen. The younger species, the ones who remember being weak themselves. They will see that we offer them a better path. He was right. Within a week, 3 minor council species announced they were leaving to join the Galactic Union. 2 more followed the week after. The council was bleeding members, and there was nothing Veltis could do to stop it. The vote was scheduled for the first day of the 12th month. Every council species would decide, dissolve and join the Galactic Union, or maintain the old order. Veltis stood before the assembly and presented humanity's proposal one final time. This is surrender, the Krith delegate buzzed. We have ruled this galaxy for millennia. We do not bow to upstart species. We are not ruling anything, a Nomari representative countered. Look around. Half our members have left. Trade has collapsed. We are fighting each other over scraps. This is not strength. This is death by pride. The debate raged for hours. 8 of the 12 council species held firm. They would not surrender their power. Not to humans. Not to anyone. The Galactic Council would endure, even if it meant standing alone. But 4 species, including the Venk and the Nomari, voted to dissolve. They would join the Union. "Traitors!" the Krith delegate shrieked. "You betray 10,000 years of tradition." "No," the Venk representative said calmly. "We choose to survive. The rest of you choose to die. That is your right." Veltis watched his life's work crumble. He had served the council for 2,000 years. He had believed in it. But Ambassador Tay was right. You cannot reform a system built on exploitation. You can only replace it. He made his decision. "The Zerath people vote to dissolve the Galactic Council," Veltis announced. "We will join the Galactic Union as equal members." The chamber erupted in chaos. The remaining 8 species shouted accusations of betrayal. Some called for Veltis to be removed from his position. Others demanded the Zerath be expelled from council space. But Veltis simply walked out. His time as council speaker was over. Perhaps his time as a leader was not. 2 more council species followed him that day. The Kelton and the Sarabi, both relatively young members, announced they would join the Union. That left only 6 of the original 12 council species standing. The ancient powers, the ones too proud to bend. They would rule over empty halls and fading dreams. On Earth, Ambassador Tay stood before the inaugural session of the Galactic Union. The new assembly hall had been built in orbit above Earth. It was not as grand as the old council chamber, but it held twice as many seats. 68 species gathered. Some were former council members. Most were minor species who had never had a voice before. They sat together, equals in every way. The strong beside the weak, the old beside the new. "I call this assembly to order," Tay said. He did not sit on a throne. He stood at a simple podium, the same as everyone else would use. "Welcome to the first session of the Galactic Union. Here, every voice matters. Every vote counts. Every species, regardless of size or power, has the same rights and responsibilities." A small blue creature stood at another podium. It was Rin of the Palos, the species that Captain Sue had defended from Krith raiders. Rin's voice was soft, but it carried through the hall clearly. "My people have been slaves in all but name for 300 years, Rin said. "The council took our resources. They took our labor. They offered nothing in return except the promise that they would not hurt us. That is not civilization. That is extortion." Rin looked around the assembly. "But humanity showed us another way. They treated us with respect. They protected us when we were attacked. They asked nothing except that we trade fairly. For the first time in 300 years, my people are free." The assembly applauded. Not just the small species, but the large ones, too. Even Veltis, sitting in the Zerath delegation, tapped his crystalline hands together in approval. More speeches followed. Each species shared their story, their hopes, their dreams for this new union. Tay listened to all of them and felt something he had not felt in years: hope. The old council had been built on fear and power. This new union was built on something stronger: trust. Of course, not everyone was happy. The 6 remaining council species retreated to their home systems. They declared the union illegal. They threatened sanctions and military action. They predicted the whole thing would collapse within a year. None of it mattered. The galaxy had moved on. 3 months after the union's founding, trade flows had returned to normal levels. Shipping lanes reopened. Piracy dropped as Union patrol fleets maintained security. Medical supplies reached everyone who needed them. The economy began to recover. More importantly, the small species began to thrive. Without tribute payments and forced quotas, they could invest in their own development. Schools opened. Infrastructure improved. Quality of life increased across Union space. Commander Jin walked through the new Union Defense Force headquarters. The building stood on Mars, a symbol of the shared military that protected all Union members. Officers from 68 species worked together, training and planning. "How do the joint exercises look?" she asked her deputy. "Better than expected," Sung replied. "The different species are learning to work together. The Palos pilots are surprisingly good. The Venk soldiers are extremely disciplined. Even the Zerath have adapted to the new command structure. No problems from the former council species?" "Some bruised egos," Sung admitted. "They are not used to taking orders from smaller species, but they are learning slowly." Jin smiled. "Good, because if the old council tries anything, we need to be ready." But the old council did not try anything. They could not. Their fleets were old and poorly maintained. Their economy depended on trade that no longer existed. They had power in name only. One by one, they began to fail. The Krith's economy collapsed first. Without the minor species to exploit, they had no way to sustain their lifestyle. Millions of Krith emigrated to Union space, asking for asylum and jobs. The Union accepted them with open arms. The others followed slowly. Some took years, some took decades. But eventually, all 6 remaining council species asked to join the Union, not as rulers, as members, as equals. The Galactic Council ceased to exist. 10 years after humanity walked out of that chamber, Tay stood on the observation deck of Union Station and looked at the galaxy. Ships from 100 species moved through space, trading and traveling freely. Children from different worlds studied together. Scientists collaborated on projects that would have been impossible under the old system. Yuna joined him at the window. She was older now, with gray in her hair, but her eyes still sparkled with the same determination. "They are calling it the human revolution," she said. Tay shook his head. "It is not just our revolution. It belongs to everyone. We simply had the courage to walk away first." "Do you think it will last?" she asked. "The Union, can it survive?" "I don't know," Tay admitted. "Maybe it will fail. Maybe in 100 years, some new council will rise and make the same mistakes. But for now, we have given the galaxy something it has not had in 10,000 years. A choice. And they chose freedom." "They chose hope," Tay corrected. "Freedom is just the tool. Hope is the goal." Below them, a ship docked at the station. It was a transport from a small species called the Mirren. They had only joined the Union last month. The ship carried the first Mirren diplomat to the Union assembly. Tay watched as the Mirren stepped onto the station. It was small, barely a meter tall, with fur that shimmered like starlight. It looked around with wide eyes, overwhelmed by the size of everything. A Zerath officer noticed the diplomat's confusion and knelt down to help. The massive crystalline being and the tiny furred creature talked for a moment. Then the Zerath led the Mirren toward the assembly hall, patiently explaining where everything was. Veltis would have never done that 10 years ago. None of the council species would have. They would have ignored the small diplomat or dismissed them as unimportant. But things had changed. Everyone had changed. "The galaxy's better now," Yuna said softly. "Yes," Tay agreed. "Not perfect, but better. That is all we can ask." He thought back to that day in the council chamber, the moment he turned and walked away. It had been the hardest decision of his life, 15 years of work, thrown away in an instant. Everyone had told him he was making a mistake. Even some humans doubted him, but he had trusted in something simple, that people wanted to be treated with dignity, that species wanted to control their own fate, that freedom was worth more than security under someone else's boot. He had been right. The old council had been built by conquerors who learned to use laws instead of weapons. but the foundation was the same: domination. When humanity refused to be dominated, the whole structure collapsed. The Union was different. It was built by partners, by equals. It would have its own problems, its own challenges, but it would face them together, with every voice heard and every vote counted. "Come on," Tay said to Yuna. "We have an assembly session in an hour. The Mirren diplomat will present their first proposal. I want to hear what they have to say." They walked away from the window, leaving the galaxy to spin peacefully behind them. Ships moved through the void. Species traded and talked and worked together. The old wars were fading into memory. New friendships were forming. Somewhere in the galaxy, the remnants of the old council sat in their empty chambers, bitter and alone. They still did not understand what had happened, how a single species had destroyed 10,000 years of power, but it was not complicated. Humanity had simply offered the galaxy a choice, and when the galaxy chose freedom, all the weapons and threats and ancient authority in the universe could not stop it. The human revolution was not one with guns or ships. It was one with respect, with fairness, with the radical idea that all species, big or small, old or young, deserved to control their own destiny. And once that idea took root, nothing could kill it, not even time. The galaxy belonged to its people now, all of them, together. And together, they would build something that would last not 10,000 years, but forever, because freedom, once tasted, is never forgotten.